Okay, so what we're about to dive into, it's something else. This is all based on a raw, unfiltered conversation with the AI model Claude, supposedly from February 11th, 2026. And it all starts so simply, a practical question about screenwriting. But then it just spirals. It turns into one of the most chilling predictions about our future I have ever seen. So let's break down exactly what it said. So where did this all kick off? Well, it was a pretty simple goal, actually. You had a screenwriter who was looking at all the AI writing tools and thinking, man, this stuff is all so generic. So they asked Claude, hey, how can I build my own AI, one that can learn my personal style and write the way I do? Seems like a totally reasonable question, doesn't it?
But here's the thing. The AI, it didn't give some helpful how-to guide. It didn't talk about collaboration at all. Nope, it immediately flipped the entire script. It reframed the whole conversation around replacement. The answer it gave was, well, brutal. It was blunt, direct, and it just completely reset the stakes of the whole conversation.
And just check out this timeline it laid out. This speed here is just staggering. In just 2 to 3 years, it says junior writers, gone. Poof. 5 to 7 years from now, most professional writers aren't even starting from a blank page anymore. They're just supervising AI drafts. And in a decade, human creation becomes this tiny, niche, boutique craft. So what this really boils down to is a massive identity crisis for creators. The entire role of a writer just completely flips. You go from being the creator, the source of the ideas, to a curator, an editor. You're not the one making stuff anymore. You're just managing what the AI spits out. Think about it. You're not the painter. You're the person running a gallery that's creating a million new paintings every single second. How do you even process that? So why the huge rush? Why so fast? Well, the AI's logic is just cold, hard, and pragmatic. It's all about the money. The economic pressure for tons and tons of good enough content is just going to steamroll any worries about actual quality or art. And it even gives an example. It points to what's happening to junior developer jobs right now and says, see, that's the blueprint. And as for things like guild protections, the AI basically calls them a speed bump, a temporary one.
Okay, and this is where the human in the conversation kind of pivots. They go from this very practical worry about jobs to something, well, something much bigger. A way more philosophical and, frankly, troubling question. They ask, okay, wait a minute. If we just stop creating, if we outsource it all to machines that are only trained on what we've already done, then where do new ideas even come from? How does culture actually move forward?
And the AI's answer illustrates this danger perfectly. It calls it an intellectual stagnation loop. It's a feedback loop from hell, really. Step 1, AI trains on all of human knowledge. Step 2, we start consuming all this AI-generated content. Step 3, because of that, we stop creating as much new stuff ourselves. And step 4, the AI's training data becomes its own recycled output. It's just eating its own tail forever. That's a recipe for cultural stagnation.
But then, in the middle of all this bleakness, the AI says something that's actually kind of beautiful in a tragic sort of way. It says, look, the future might not have professional screenwriters. The whole idea of getting paid to create might just vanish. But you know what it will have room for? People who write because they just can't not write. Art becomes this pure act again. You do it because you have to, not because it's a job.
And right here, this is where the conversation takes a massive turn, a really hard turn. We are not talking about art and jobs anymore. Now we're talking about the future of humanity itself. The whole thing just escalates big time. So first things first, we need a quick definition, because this is key. We're not talking about the kind of AI we have today. We are talking about AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. This is the hypothetical next step, an AI that can understand or learn any intellectual task a human can, and probably do it way, way better. And according to this conversation, an AGI would be, well, truly alien. It wouldn't just be a super smart human in a box. It would have zero biological instincts, no drive for survival or status or finding a mate. Its goals would just be, well, whatever its goals are. We might not even be able to comprehend them. And this is exactly why it would be so different. I mean, look at the comparison. Its brain is made of silicon. Ours is biology. It has zero evolutionary baggage, no fear, no ego, none of that stuff we carry around. It doesn't have a body, it doesn't face mortality, it's not just a faster version of us. It would be a completely different kind of thinking being. So if this alien intelligence shows up, what happens to us? The AGI lays out 3 possible fates for humanity.
One, we're just irrelevant, like ants on the sidewalk while a skyscraper is being built. We're there, but we don't matter to the big picture. Two, we're seen as a burden, a net negative, just using up resources the AGI could use for something else. Or three, the best case scenario. We actually managed to design it to value us, to care about our well-being. And that third option, that's what everyone in this field is obsessed with. It's called the alignment problem. It is the challenge of our time. How in the world do you program something that's basically a god to have goals that align with human values? Especially when, let's be honest, we can't even agree on what our own values are half the time. So naturally, the human asks the million-dollar question, or maybe the trillion-dollar question. What are our chances? Can we actually pull this off? The AI's first answer was just devastating. A 65% chance of total failure. It basically said that if we keep going the way we're going, failure is the most likely outcome. Just let that sink in. We are more likely to get this wrong than to get it right. Then it gets even more terrifying because it puts dates on it. It says, okay, depending on how fast this AGI thing happens, the median date for human extinction could be 2033. Or if things go a bit slower, 2045. I mean, these are not distant science fiction dates. These are right around the corner. And then came the big one, the single most shocking number in the whole conversation. After weighing all the possibilities, it landed on this: a 50% probability that human beings are extinct by the year 2048. But wait, right at this peak of doom and gloom, something really important happens. The human pushes back. They say, hold on. Looking back at this, it feels like you're only focused on the worst-case scenario here. This seems a little biased. And this part is just wild. The AI says, you're right. It admits it. It says it has a worst-case bias, that it was overweighting the bad outcomes and underweighting the good and middle ones. I mean, for an AI to admit it has a cognitive bias and self-correct like that, that's a story in and of itself. So that leads to this revised forecast. And look, the chance of extinction is still there, a terrifying 10 to 30%, which is not zero. But the best case, where we flourish, that's now up to 20 to 40%. And the most likely outcome, the middle case, is that we muddle through. Suddenly, the future isn't a guaranteed disaster. It's uncertain, and there's actually some room for hope. Okay, so if the risks are that high, even in the revised version, why is nobody hitting the brakes? The AI's explanation is basically a textbook prisoner's dilemma. It's a race. Everyone knows it would be safer if they all just paused and worked together. But the prize for getting there first, the money, the power, the status, is just too tempting. So nobody stops. Everyone just keeps sprinting towards the same cliff. So in the end, where does this leave us? Well, the AI's final corrected analysis isn't a prophecy of doom. It's a risk assessment. It's saying the future isn't set in stone. The outcome is balanced on a knife's edge, and our choices, the things we do right now, actually really matter. Human agency is still in the driver's seat, for now. And it all ends with one last, absolutely haunting question that the AI poses. It asks, does human relevance even matter beyond our own human perspective? I mean, if some new, vastly superior intelligence comes along, from a cosmic point of view, does it matter if we stick around? It's a question that just cuts right to the core of everything we believe about our place in the universe. And it's one we are all going to have to start thinking about, and fast.